works. And if you're new to the show, we have several cameras we set up here. So this is kind of the intro here. So everything's ready to go. John says everything's ready to go. Welcome. Glad you could be here. If you're new to the show, the way this works is I will talk for 24 minutes. You, whatever platform you're on, can type in any health question you have. I will then answer those questions if I can. John will ask me the questions at the break. I won't know who you are. I don't know anything about you. John just reads the question. Then I'll do another 24 minutes, and then John will ask me questions again. So this is a great opportunity for you to have any health questions answered that you might have because a lot of people have questions, and they don't know who to ask. And I want to be your doctor. I want to hopefully give you those answers to try to, as I always say, get you well and keep you well. So I am ready to start whenever you are, John. Oh, yes. Okay. So hold on one second there, folks. Yeah, please share this with your group. Whatever group you're with, your contacts, let them know because this is really important stuff. If you've never heard the show, I promise you after today, you'll realize why we have such a big following because we give you a lot of good information. So we are ready to rock according to John. So here we go. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I'm glad you're with me today. We're going to talk today about something that was big in the news recently, and it's called microplastics. Microplastics are little residual particles of plastic that are getting in your body, and it's not good. In fact, it's very, very bad, and it's something that's everywhere, and I'm glad it made mainstream news. I've talked about this periodically here and there, but I want to give you an update on where we are as a society, what's happening with microplastics, more importantly, what you can do about it. Because giving somebody information without an action step when it comes to healthcare usually isn't very productive. So, average person eats about 5 grams of plastic a week. That's about the size of a credit card. So you're eating a credit card once a week. And these tiny bits of plastic are turning up throughout the whole body, including in places we might not expect. And this is what I want to talk about today is the new research on where this stuff is showing up. Research found plastic particles in the human bloodstream. Another study found it in the heart. And another study found it in men's testicles. There's a worry about this. We weren't expecting to find these microplastics infiltrating into the testicles because there's a tight blood tissue barrier in the male reproductive system. In the brain, it's called the blood-brain barrier. And what it is the blood vessels in the brain don't allow certain things to get into the brain because the brain is so sensitive. Same thing with the testicles. We have this blood-testes barrier, and it's one of the tightest blood tissue barriers in the human body. The presence of these microplastics in the testicles suggests that these microplastics can bypass the blood system and get into and penetrate other organs and sensitive parts of the body, and that can impact your health, including your reproductive health. And this is something I've talked about several times in the past. But the sperm count in men is dropping dramatically. In fact, one study I read shows it drops about 50% per generation. So my father had 50% less than his father. I have 50% less than my father. And if I had any baby boys, they would have 50% less than me. That's dramatic because that's not sustainable. And we have seen an uptick. I've seen it, just from in clinic, patients coming in trying to get pregnant and having problems, men and women. And is this the cause? We don't know. But to me, it seems certainly like there's a correlation between this. Now, the blood testes barrier, again, very, very tight. Things shouldn't be getting in. So if plastic can get into your blood system and get into the testicles, the plastic acts like estrogen. And it essentially counteracts testosterone. And it can lower the male capability of being a male, not just reproduction, but muscle, strength, voice, all the secondary male characteristics that we have are becoming challenged now. Microplastics, these small particles, less than 5 millimeters in size, and they're intentionally manufactured for use in products like cosmetics, personal care items, exfoliating scrubs for the face. They use microplastics in that many times. There's other applications as well. Also, these microfibers that shed from synthetic clothing during washing can get into your body. In fact, there was a big article about one of the big brand names, I won't say their name, exercise wear, athletic wear. And it's a very big brand name and very expensive. T-shirts are $60, $70. And they were having chemicals in the crotch of their leggings that are endocrine-disrupting chemicals, things like microplastics, that are getting into the woman body, especially around the genitalia area because it's a very sensitive area. So these microplastics include small fragments that break down from larger fragments, such as bottles, plastic bags, plastic debris. The breakdown can occur during environmental exposure, such as sunlight, ocean waves, and weathering. So if you have a plastic bag and it blows away, eventually it's going to start to break down. Well, it doesn't just break down and disappear. It doesn't compost and become soil. These little bits of microplastic now become part of the environment. And when it's part of the environment, it can get into our food supply, into our air supply, and you can get it into your system. And that's a pretty serious issue. Now, it's an estimated that 11 million tons of plastic waste enter the world's oceans every year. It's a lot. The amount that can nearly triple by 2040. So in another 15 or so years, we can triple that from 11 million tons to 33 million tons of plastic, just getting in the oceans alone. The end result, these plastics get into the fish, and if you eat fish, you can be getting plastics into the body. Now, I've talked about fish many times. I'm not a fan of fish because many times they have mercury in them. They can have other chemical contaminants in them. If they're wild caught, it's one thing, but if they're farm raised, they're oftentimes fed soybeans and corn, which are high in omega-6 fatty acids. They're given antibiotics. So I'm not a fan of fish. And another reason now is that we're getting microplastics oftentimes in the fish as well. So what does this all mean? This plastic's getting into the body. It's getting into the men's reproductive system. Specifically, that's what we're talking about now. We have a fertility crisis. Men experience 50 to 60% decline in sperm counts from 1973 to 2011. And according to a 2017 study that was published in Human Reproductive Data. So once again, 50% reduction pretty much per generation. What's going to happen as that gets lower and lower? And this is just the men, not counting women's reproductive issues. So women's exposure, let's talk about what's happened to women when they get exposed to these plastics. Phthalates, this is one of these endocrine disrupting chemicals. There's microplastics, there's phthalates, there's bisphenol A, there's many different types of them. Phthalates are used in a lot of cosmetics, body conditioning products, hair products. And if women are exposed to phthalates during pregnancy, it's linked to something called the male baby's anogenital distance. Now, who came up with this? I don't know. The distance between the anus and the base of the penis. The higher exposure is associated with a shortened anogenital distance, so it's closer together. Later in life, the shorter anogenital distance is linked to smaller penis, poorer sperm quality, and it's such that if they're exposed to this at birth, it can affect their ability to reproduce. And a lot of babies are being exposed to phthalates. Why? Because the phthalates are everywhere. They are in perfumes, they're in hairsprays, they're in colognes, they're in body soaps, they're in shampoos. And so pregnant women, it's almost impossible to avoid them, but so many women are taking baths. They're using soaps, they're putting on perfume to try to smell nice. And it's adversely affecting the baby's reproductive capabilities. So sperm is dropping, genital function is dropping, and I see this a lot too in practice. This is more of just an observation than really a scientific statement, is that when I first got in practice 40 years ago, I can't remember any men coming to me with erectile dysfunction issues. Just didn't happen. As time went on, one patient, two patients, I see maybe 5 or 6 patients a week with erectile dysfunction. I had a patient come in the other day, and he was 45 years old, ED. 80-year-old, 70-year-old, maybe I can see it, but when I'm starting to see it in 40-year-olds, I've had a guy come in 28 years old, ED. Why are they not functioning? Something's wrong. And it's just an observation on my part, but I'm seeing it a lot more and more. And men feel very comfortable coming to me with health issues. I get all sorts of health issues. And they come to me and say, Doc, what can I do naturally? Well, we can give you things like nitric oxide support supplements to increase circulation. We can check the nerve supply in the low back, see if there's a pinched nerve going into the organs. We can look at your diet to see if you have a diet that's conducive or possibly causing clogged arteries. We can give you home therapies to use, like a pump that you can pump things up to try to get the muscle stretched out and moving again. But there's something more universal. And my feeling is that men are being exposed to these endocrine disrupting chemicals more and more, and it's becoming an issue. And again, I have an answer for you, which I'll give you in a little bit. But men are going to have to take steps to do something about it. And unfortunately, I find that most men aren't doing anything about it. They have pills now. You watch a commercial, right? A little blue pill solves the problem. 50% of men don't respond to the little blue pill. And 2 years, for the men that do respond, 2 years after taking it, 50% of them, it doesn't work anymore. So you can do injections. Well, injections might work, but every time you put an injection in there, you create scar tissue. Scar tissue can affect function. And over time, you're treating the symptoms, you're not treating the cause. And this is just one function of the body. What about the heart? What about the brain? What about the blood vessels? What about the muscles? All these things are being affected by these endocrine disrupting chemicals like microplastics. So phthalates, that's only one class of the endocrine disrupting chemicals. There's bisphenol A, like we said, flame retardants, pesticides, polyfluoroalkyl PFAs. These are chemicals that can cause problems. And microplastics often contain endocrine disrupting chemicals, and that's one way that they affect fertility. So population is dropping. We know that. People being exposed to these chemicals, it's affecting men's and women's ability to function normally in a romantic department, make babies. And we keep doing it. Now, there are certain things that are being done, and I'll talk about this a little later too, but something you can do very simply is carry your own grocery bags with you when you go shopping. Stop using these plastic bags so much. Now, I remember going to Europe when I was 10 years old, and there were no grocery bags. Everybody carried these mesh bags with them, and they went to the grocery store, they filled it up, and that's what they put their groceries in. And I thought that was so weird, because when I was a kid, they didn't have plastic, everything was paper. But you'd have paper. I remember my mother had a paper bag with all the paper bags stuffed in it, and we try to use them as often as we could. But my grandmother, when she went to the grocery store from Europe, she would always carry her own bags, and I didn't understand it. Why you carry your own bags? The grocery store has them for free. I'm seeing it now. Europe was way ahead of us when it came to these things. When plastic came out, of course, it became very convenient, very cheap, and plastic was strong and easy to carry. You didn't have to carry your own bags. But that's just one little step that you can do to slow down environmental plastic, but also plastic in your own life. And you got to be careful with perfumes, hairsprays, makeup. Read the ingredients. Does it say phthalate? And if it says phthalate, it's PHTHALATES. So if you see PHTH, that's the only ones you have to remember. Don't have those chemicals in your body. So plastics are a xenoestrogen. What that means is xeno means foreign. Xenophobia, fear of foreigners. So xenoestrogens can mimic the effects of estrogen in the body. Now, estrogen is a hormone that is a growth hormone. Men have it, women have it, women have more than men. And too much of it is a problem. Too little of it is a problem. You want to be in that Goldilocks zone. Much of the danger is related to the stimulation of something called estrogen receptor sites. In your body, there are receptor sites for just about everything. What a receptor site is it latches into that site and then creates an action to occur. And that's how hormones work. You have to have a receptor site. Cells have insulin receptor sites. Insulin is a hormone. It goes into the cell and opens up the cell and allows glucose in. And so receptor sites are just where something kind of docks in there and works. So phthalates, for instance, have estrogenic properties, and some of the endocrine disrupting chemicals are also considered estrogenic carcinogens. So here's the sentence I want you to walk away with when it comes to these things. Because of the abnormal stimulation of estrogen receptors, they promote cell proliferation. They cause the cells to grow and multiply. And that potentially contributes to the development and progression of estrogen-sensitive cancers, such as certain breast cancers and endometrial cancer. So there are certain cancers that grow around estrogen. And we can give medications, drugs called aromatase inhibitors. And aromatase prevents testosterone from converting into estrogen. Now, there's a supplement I take every day. It's called Dr. Joe's Estrogen Regulator. And I take it every day. It helps prevent my testosterone from converting into estrogen, because at my age, it happens very quickly. If I can prevent that from happening, I can keep my estrogen levels higher. My testosterone levels higher, And that's what I want to do. So I take a supplement. It's on my website, drjoe.com. And it's okay to take for men, and it's okay to take for women if they're estrogen dominant. Many times they're overweight, you're estrogen dominant, if you're in childbearing years. If you're perimenopausal or menopausal, don't take estrogen regulator, because at that point you're not producing estrogen for women, and you want to produce estrogen. You want to get those estrogen levels a little higher. But we can give you medications to block the testosterone from converting into estrogen. That's great. But if you're putting these chemicals in your body that are already like estrogen, it's going to stimulate those estrogen receptor sites, and it can cause abnormal cell growth. Hope that wasn't too complicated for you. So if you stimulate these estrogen receptor sites with these plastics or these phthalates or the endocrine disruptors, it can cause some real serious problems. Now, if you're overweight, I used to be overweight. If you're overweight, fat produces estrogen. Estrogen then causes you to lay down fat, which produces estrogen, which causes you to lay down fat. So it's a trick to try to lose weight, especially for women, because they are more estrogen dominant than men. What do? Well, we can change our diet, we can eat right, we can exercise, but how many of you have done this? You've eaten right, you've changed your diet, and you're still not losing weight. A lot of you. I know you do. You come to me all the time. That's when I sit down with the patient and I say, let's talk about your lifestyle. Do you wear makeup? Do you wear colognes? Do you have scented shampoos, conditioners? Do you use things that plug into the wall for air fresheners? Have you gotten a new car recently? New car smell? All of these chemical smells can be estrogen disruptors. They're xenoestrogens. They're foreign estrogens. And so you're thinking, well, why do I have these problems? It could be because you're exposing yourself to chemicals that actually can cause you to lay down fat. Now, don't use that as an excuse. Well, Dr. Joe, I'm overweight because I wear perfume. No, that's a contributing factor. It's not a causative factor. Causative factors are you probably have a bad diet, and you think you're eating right, but you're not. We have on our website, drjoe.com, we have it's a 21-day detox program. And I recommend everybody do it. I've done it. I usually do it once or twice a year anyway. And it just kind of cleans out your system. And it can help clean out your liver as well, because the liver is where estrogen can be broken down. And if the liver's clogged up, you can't break down estrogen. And so we want to clean out the liver as often as not as often as we can, but I mean, at least twice a year, and get that out of the body. And so when I have people that are trying to lose weight and they can't lose weight, I'll put them on a 21-day program. And they'll lose weight, but more importantly, they get their system working so it can clean itself out more efficiently. And that's what's important, is not just short-term weight loss. You can take these injections, semaglutide, and other chemicals like that, and you lose your appetite and you lose weight. But as soon as you stop taking it, everything goes back to the way it used to be. You put the weight right back on. And that concerns me as I go off on a tangent here, is that these weight loss drugs, they're making them forever drugs. Forever drug means you're going to take it for the rest of your life. It's like you're type 1 diabetic. Insulin is a forever drug for you. People with high blood pressure, many times they put on blood pressure medications as a forever drug. There are a lot of things you can do to help bring down your blood pressure naturally. And I always tell people, follow my protocols and keep taking your medication. If the protocols I teach you work, you can go back to your medical doctor and say, hey, my blood pressure is lower. Can I come off my medication or reduce my medication? I can't tell you to do that. Only your medical doctor can do that. But there's protocols we can do to get our body functioning more efficiently. There are protocols we can do to clean out these plastics from our body and these endocrine disrupting chemicals. So the estrogenic effect, plastics exposure, contributes to estrogen dominance. And estrogen dominance means you have more, essentially, estrogen is taking over and it's counteracting testosterone, and you're not functioning normally because your testosterone levels are so low. And we can give you testosterone shots, which, by the way, will raise your testosterone levels. But here's the catch. If you take testosterone, any type of hormone from the outside, your body's going to say, you know what, Joe? I'm monitoring your testosterone levels. It's pretty high. I'm going to stop making so much testosterone because you got plenty of it. So it's going to send a message to my adrenal glands, my testicles, and say, all right, shut down your production. And then if I try to come off the external hormones, it becomes a problem, because now my body isn't producing it. And you kind of try to jumpstart the organs again. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So if you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking today about microplastics and endocrine disrupting hormones. These are chemicals that get into your body and mess with your hormones. So we always want to, I'm going to cover next what to do. How do we bring it down? How do we lower these problems? But there's three things you want to do regardless of what your health condition is. You want to have a normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. These are the keys to good health. So when I say nervous system, do you have any pinched nerves? Well, do you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, sciatica? That's a sign that there's pinched nerves. And most likely that's the cause and we can fix it. That's chiropractic care. 90% of your nerves don't feel pain. So when my doctors test the patients and myself, we test the nerves that feel pain and we test the nerves that don't feel pain. You want to make sure your digestive system is working properly so you can absorb nutrients and as importantly, pass out waste products. Can you get these plastics out of your system? Can you get linoleic and omega-6 fatty acids out of your system? We talked about that 2 weeks ago. The answer is yes, and that's why we have protocols. We do the 21-day detox. We have lectures on my website, drjoe.com. 7 Deadly Sins of Nutrition, So What Can I Eat? We have those on the website as well. You can listen to those. And the website, by the way, you can search. It's absolutely free. We have over 4,000 hours of content. And so you got to clean out the system. Are you eating enough fiber? Are you cleaning? Are your bowels moving properly? I take supplements like Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. By the way, I recommend that for everybody. That's like your minimum supplements you should be taking. But Super Greens has chlorella in it. Chlorella helps detoxify the liver. Has iodine in it. Iodine can help the thyroid work more efficiently and get the whole body working more efficiently. So Super Greens and Essential Source, minimum supplements everybody should be taking. Check your nervous system. Do you have pinched nerves? If you come to my office, my doctors can check your nervous system and see if you have pinched nerves, even if there's no pain. And then we want to make sure we have a good diet. We want to make sure we're not eating bad stuff. We are eating good stuff. When we come back, I'm going to cover that pretty much in depth. What strategies to decrease what we call your estrogen load? What are the things that you can do to A, stop putting the stuff in your body, and B, get it out of the system? This is healthcare. What most of you have experienced in your life is sick care. You have a problem, go to the doctor, we try to treat the symptoms. Absolutely necessary. I have no problem with any of that whatsoever. I have a problem when they do that instead of looking for alternatives. That's the issue I have. Is there something else I can do to get to the cause of the problem? And once we've exhausted all of that, then let's go to the next step. Let's go to drugs. Let's go to surgery. Let's go to rehab, whatever it is. But let's try to get to the cause of the problem first. And that's why you want to have a normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. Receipts, credit card receipts, cash register receipts. They have chemicals in them. Bisphenol A. Bisphenol A is a chemical that's an endocrine disruptor. It acts like estrogen. So I don't touch receipts unless I absolutely have to. Even money, I try not to touch unless I absolutely have to. And after I touch it, I always wash my hands because I want to get these chemicals off my body before they get absorbed. And if you're in a job where you're touching receipts all day, well, you might want to consider wearing gloves. You might want to consider, having something to protect yourself before you actually touch the receipt. Now, is that an extreme measure? Probably. Is cancer extreme? Yeah. Is endocrine disrupting hormones extreme? Yeah. So, yeah, it stinks. Sometimes you got to take precautions. And the same thing with food. I want to make sure you're eating the right foods. Is it always the most convenient, cheapest choice? Well, usually it's the cheapest choice, maybe not the most convenient choice. But once you start getting the nutrients in your body, for example, if you just took Super Greens and Essential Source, nothing else, that would help the body start to detoxify itself. Then I would add Dr. Joe's B complex to that because we pee out our B vitamins every day. We need to replace those B vitamins. Most people don't. And so your body is functioning, but it's not functioning at 100%. Vitamin D, so important. Most of us are deficient in vitamin D. Everyone I've ever tested is deficient in vitamin D unless they're A, have a job where they work outside, or they're outside a lot, or B, they take a supplement. Everyone else is deficient in my experience. And so that's why I recommend vitamin D. So like the starter kit for supplements would be Super Greens, Essential Source, B vitamins, and vitamin D. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels and increases circulation. I love that supplement. It makes you feel great. Don't take it if you have low blood pressure. But normal or high blood pressure, nitric oxide. And we talked about how it's affecting men as well. These things are affecting men's fertility and function. Nitric oxide can open up the blood supply for men and women to the happy parts. And things work more efficiently when they have proper nitric oxide. So check the nerve supply, look at the diet, clean out the arteries, take the supplements that are necessary. Supplements aren't a luxury, they're a necessity in my world. So if you have any questions, send them to me through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Book an appointment to come see us. Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, drjoe.com. And all the supplements are there too. Folks, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be right back. I have a lot more to cover. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, drjoe.com. Don't go anywhere. Okay. That's a lot of stuff to cover right there. A lot of chemistry today. Any questions for me?
I've been having severe pain in my lower back. I think it started with sciatica, but I think I have a pinched nerve as well. What things could your teams do to help?
We'd find out what's causing it. It's probably a pinched nerve, which you said. And in most pinched nerves, that's chiropractic case. Chiropractic should be the portal of entry when it comes for pain management. So if you want to make an appointment, just go to drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We'll get you set up as soon as possible this week if you're available, we're available. And we'll check to see if we can get to the cause of it. Most people are very, very happy with chiropractic care when it comes to back pain, myself included. So let's start there. What else?
Regarding hormone replacement therapy for women, should it be bioidentical or synthetic? Is it safe for someone that had vertical cancer 33 years ago?
Okay. Cervical, yeah. Bioidentical hormones is a misnomer because everybody's hormone's a little different. Okay, so you think it's exactly like yours. It's close. I'm not a fan of synthetic hormones, so if you're going to do it, I'd recommend bioidentical, but I'd recommend trying to get your body to work itself to produce its own hormones before you went to hormone therapy. Because like I said, once you start taking the therapy, your body's going to say, hey, I got plenty of estrogen, I got plenty of testosterone, I have plenty of estradiol, I don't have to make that stuff anymore. So your body kind of goes on strike. And it's really hard to reboot it. I took testosterone once. I had a medical doctor working with us. And he said, Joe, man, at your age, you're going to love it. Try it. And I said, well, let me try it before I knock it. And I did half dose over twice the amount of time. So I did, I think, 3 half doses over 6 weeks or something like that. And it's injectable. You inject it into yourself. And I felt great. Lots of energy. Felt good. After 6 weeks, I got my blood tested again. My testosterone levels were off the chart. Dangerously high. He said, stop taking it immediately. And I did. And then I crashed. Because my brain was saying, you got plenty of testosterone, Joe. You don't have to make any more. And then I crashed, and I felt awful. I felt weak. I felt my muscles became weak. And then over time, I rebooted myself and kind of got it back up. But that was only 3 half treatments. It wasn't for months and years. I don't know what would have happened had I done that. So I'm not a fan of taking it. If you have a hormone issue, we can do a test on you called the Dutch test, DUTCH. And it's a urine test. And if you call my office, we can send you the kit if you want to, or come pick it up. And we'll measure it, and then we'll go over the results, and we'll find out where the hormone deficiencies are, and hopefully what we can do naturally to boost them back up or normalize them. So that's a much better choice.
Are there any fat-burning foods that you recommend for a healthy breakfast?
Well, for breakfast, I always take Super Greens and Essential Source. That's my minimum. That's my breakfast every day, and then some fruit. Now, when you say fat-burning foods, spicy foods can help increase your metabolism. If you're not getting enough iodine, your thyroid can't work properly, so I don't care what you're taking, your metabolism isn't going to work right. And Super Greens and Essential Source both have iodine in them. So that can help with metabolism. Spicy foods, if you want to eat something savory, like scrambled tofu is actually great. I'm not a fan of animal products. But beans, scrambled tofu, those are all foods that can help. Celery, it's supposed to be, it takes more calories to digest it than it has in it. But again, if you stop thinking about fat-burning foods, start thinking about healthy foods. What foods can I eat to make my body work the best it possibly can? And if you go to my website, drjoe.com, several things you can do. Number 1, type in weight loss and listen to a show I did on weight loss. Number 2, do the 21-day detox. That kind of jump starts everything. And just type 21 day in the search bar, and we can send you the kit. It's very easy to do. And you'll actually save money doing it, because the money you normally spend on food, you'd spend on these products, and it's going to be less expensive than food in most cases. So you'll actually make money on a deal. And that's a great way to reset the body's ability to burn fat. And then, of course, staying away from sugars, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. The traditional American diet is just horrible when it comes to what we're feeding people, cereals and breads and cookies and pastries. You just want to avoid those. Those are not good for you either. So listen to weight loss program that I did, and then do the 21-day detox. I think you'll be very happy. So What else?
What is the best way to handle tinnitus?
Tinnitus could be a vitamin D deficiency. I've seen some people respond to vitamin B as well. So Dr. Joe's B complex and Dr. Joe's vitamin D, absolutely you should be everybody should take it anyway. And then we check the nerves in the neck. It could be a pinched nerve in the neck causing the tinnitus. It could be a reaction to medication. Even something as simple as aspirin can cause tinnitus. High blood pressure could do it. So we want to find out what's causing it as opposed to treating it. I know it's so hard to get that in your head. This is a different approach to healthcare. I know you have tinnitus. I want to know why your body's malfunctioning that's causing the tinnitus. Very different approach. So vitamin D and vitamin B, you can try that to start. Maybe do it for 4 weeks. Follow the directions on the bottles. I would say 10 drops of vitamin D every day, and then at least 1 or 2 Dr. Joe's B complex supplements every day. And do it for 3 or 4 weeks. And if that doesn't work, then come see us. We'd have to dig a little deeper and see what's going on. So, what else?
Tailgating season is here. Do you have any healthy chili recipes?
Yes, in the first book I ever wrote, I don't know if you have a copy of it, it's somewhere around here. I don't have a copy of it with me. It's called Eating Right for the Health of It. I have a really good chili recipe in there that I make a lot. I used to make a lot. Haven't made it in a while, actually. But it's great. So if you go to my website, drjoe.com, it's called Eating Right for the Health of It. We have a PDF we can send you, or a hard copy book, old school. And there's about 200 recipes in there, including a great chili recipe. Well worth the investment. Okay, what else?
That is all.
Awesome. Good. You guys are awesome today. Good questions. All right, let me freshen up here. You'll notice I even drink my tea out of metal or glass. I don't use plastics because plastics are just evil. And in fact, John, you told me a story. What'd you tell me? Right.
Yeah, with cutting boards. I just replaced my plastic cutting board.
Turn on your mic. Turn on your mic. Oh.
This weekend, I actually replaced my plastic cutting board with a bamboo cutting cord because I'm just concerned about, getting those plastic things in my mouth.
Yeah, exactly. If you're slicing your cutting board, you see slice marks in it. Where do you think that plastic went? Yeah. Same thing with nonstick cookware. I'll cover that. I should cover that now. Nonstick alternatives. Good. Okay, I have it in my notes already. How efficient am I? If you have a nonstick pan and it has a scratch in it, throw it away. Don't give it away. Throw it away because those chemicals are leaching into your food. All right, we're ready, John? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. If you're just tuning in, welcome. What we're talking about today are microplastics and endocrine-disrupting hormones. Big words, right? Microplastics are little tiny bits of plastic. It's exactly what it says. And you can get it in your food, you can get it in the air, you can get it in your water. And when it gets into your system, it acts like estrogen. And it stimulates your estrogen receptor site, so the body acts like it has excess estrogen. And that can cause abnormal cell growth, and even types of cancer has been known to occur from excess estrogen. So we talked about that, and you're eating about a credit card's worth of plastic every week, the average American. These chemicals are extremely dangerous, and nobody seems to talk about it, and I don't know why. And you can get it from a lot of different places. So now let's talk about strategies to decrease your estrogen load. How do we lower these chemicals that are producing estrogen in your body? Now, estrogenic microplastics, these are plastics that act like estrogen, they're ubiquitous. They're everywhere. They're in food. They're in drinking water. So I want to talk about some steps to help. It's important for this, not only for your reproductive health, but your overall health. And these are some things you can do to lower your estrogen burden. You can reduce your exposure by just becoming aware of plastic that's in your world every day. How many of you drink out of a styrofoam cup? Endocrine disrupting hormones. How many of you get food to go and it's either in a plastic container or a styrofoam container? Endocrine disrupting hormones. And if you get soup, for example, in a plastic container, you're melting that plastic and the plastic is getting into your food. Never, ever, under any circumstances, use plastic in a microwave. You shouldn't use a microwave anyway. I have a microwave. You know what I use it for? I clean my sponge with it. I use my sponge. At the end of the day, I'll put it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and the microwaves can kill the viruses, germs, and bacteria. That's what I use my microwave for. I have a hot pack, too. If I have to use a hot pack, I can put it in there, and it'll heat it up, and I can use that as a hot pack if I have a sore muscle or something like that. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot of use for microwaves in my world. And if I turn it on, I walk away because those microwaves can get out of the body. It can get out of the system, get out of the microwave oven and get into your body. So those are bad. So cut back where you can. Swap out plastic bags, bottles, straws, utensils, food containers for reusable options. Don't drink out of a plastic bottle. Drink out of a metal bottle, metal container, or glass container. If you're going to drink out of like a plastic water bottle, make sure it's hard plastic. Soft plastic, the kind you pick it up and it crumbles, you're going to get microplastics. You're going to get endocrine disrupting chemicals into that water, guaranteed. So if you're going to do it, use a hard plastic bottle. Minimize the processed foods that you eat. I did a show a couple of weeks ago on ultra-processed foods, and one of the telltale signs of an ultra-processed food, it's usually wrapped in plastic. And so minimize that the best you can. Instead of getting, you're going to buy apples that are wrapped in plastic, just buy loose apples. Think about little things like that to cut that plastic out of your life. Glass is so much better. Water filters. I cannot stress enough the importance of water filters, because there are chemicals in the water that are not being filtered out. Most of the water we drink is recycled sewage. I guess you knew that by now. But recycled sewage, and they'll take out solid waste, of course. They'll test it for antibiotics and they'll test for viruses and germs and bacteria, and they'll add chlorine to it to kill out anything else that's in there. But certain things like microplastics are not filtered out. Drugs. If I'm taking, let's say, blood pressure medication, when I go to the bathroom, some of that medication's coming out of my system. It then goes into a water recycling plant and can come back in your water. Now, is it enough to kill you? No. But if you're giving a baby, very sensitive to hormones and chemicals and drugs, small amounts of this, it could be an issue. It's not really talked about because there's no way to filter out these things at this point in our technology commercially. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a water filter at your house. In fact, I think everybody should have a water filter at their house. Now, I have one at my house, and if you send me an email through the website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com, I'll send you the company that I use. I don't want to give them a free plug on the air, but I'll let you know who I use. And a whole house filter is going to cost you $3,000, $4,000. It's not cheap. Well worth it. Every drop of water in my house is filtered. If I take a bath, it's filtered. If I take a shower, it's filtered. If I wash my vegetables, it's filtered. If I brush my teeth, it's filtered. Because just taking a shower, hot shower, can open up my pores, and I can absorb about 8 glasses worth of chlorine just by taking a hot shower. So I filter all that out. I've had people come to my house and say, your water tastes different. I said, no, it tastes like nothing. And they go, oh, that's it. It has no flavor. I said, yeah, that's what water's supposed to taste like. So water filters are so important. If you can't afford a whole house filter, at least get like a countertop Brita or something like that and filter your drinking water. But do everything you can to get the purest water possible, because these are issues. And this is worth the investment. I can't think of a better investment with a bigger return on investment than your health. I don't care how good a stock is. I don't care if you buy gold, if you buy stocks, bonds. Nothing is better investment than your health. Because what are you going to do with all that money if you're sick? I've had multi-millionaires come to me and say, Dr. Joe, I'll do whatever you tell me to do because I want to get well. And it's not a function of money. It's a function of knowledge. And that's what you're getting here, free. So that's what I want to do, is give you as much knowledge as I possibly can. But get a water filter. Like I said, send me an email through the website. I'll send you a company I use. Avoid flooring, shower curtains, and furniture made with phthalates. If something smells like a new furniture, new car, new shower curtain, air it out. Those chemicals getting into your lungs. I don't have any carpets in my house at all. Everything is hardwood or tile. Now, if you can't afford to do that, I understand that. It took me years over time. I've been in my house for a long time to get the carpets out, because carpets are just breeding grounds for viruses, germs, bacteria, mold, fungus, but also those new chemical smells that come off it can be very dangerous. Vacuum often. I have 3 robot vacuums. I love them. I think they're the greatest invention in the world. I set it at 9 o'clock in the morning. By the time I leave for work, my vacuum runs in the upstairs of my house, does the downstairs, and I run it almost every day. And then if I have to mop my floors or something, I don't have to sweep them. They're already clean. I mopped them. I did a steam mopping yesterday, as a matter of fact, in my kitchen, in my keeping room. And so steam mop is great, no chemicals at all. run your vacuum. The robot vacuums are so easy, and now they even clean themselves. I got the old kind. We got to pick them up and clean them. They even clean themselves out right now. Again, another investment that is so worth it to me because I love a clean house. And if I use chemicals to clean my countertops or my shower, they're always all natural chemicals. If you have to use a caustic chemical like a bleach or something like that, open the window, spray the bleach, get out of the house. Come back in, then you can do your cleaning. Let it air out. Open the windows and air it out. You want to avoid these synthetic estrogens. Minimize exposure to these things. Hormone replacement therapy, oral contraceptives. Consult with a qualified healthcare professional like myself about alternative methods on things you can do when it comes to hormones. Like I said, we can do a Dutch test on you. Dutch test, we can determine not only your hormone levels, but where the breakdown is. Are you not breaking it down to pass it out? Is it building up somewhere else? Is your testosterone converting into estrogen? Can we give you something like a natural aromatase to prevent that from happening? So there's natural ways we can do this. I'm not an endocrinologist. I can't tell you to take drugs or not take drugs. But I can tell you natural approaches we can take to try to balance out those hormones. We did a show, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, on linoleic acid, omega-6 fatty acids. They act similarly to estrogen. They both increase your risk for cancer and decrease your metabolic function and can suppress your thyroid and your liver. So if you didn't listen to that show, I think it was 2 weeks ago, it's on my website, drjoe.com. We did a whole show on omega-6 fatty acids and how dangerous these polyunsaturated fats are and what to do about it. Choose natural products, natural skincare, makeup, hair products. Reduce your exposure to synthetic chemicals, parabens, phthalates. These all have problems. Now, I hadn't found a natural deodorant that I liked. I've tried them all, I thought, and none of them worked. I'll be honest with you. So if I had to go out somewhere, I used a commercial deodorant. If I was going to be sweating, like giving a lecture in public, and I was at Kroger one day, and on a discount rack, they had something called squash deodorant. It has a picture of like a Bigfoot on it. And I thought, well, I'll try this one. That one seems to work. I have no affiliation with that company. I know nothing about them, except it's a natural product, and it seems to work. Hume, I think, also works. Somebody told me Hume is another one. What I do is I use rubbing alcohol and tea tree oil. I got a squirt bottle. I hang it in my shower. And it's mostly rubbing alcohol, and I add tea tree oil to it until it smells like tea tree oil. I like that smell. And I spray that on, and that works really well because tea tree oil is an antibiotic, antibacterial. Also, shave your armpits, men and women. It's a lot easier to stay clean and fresh without, a lot of hair on your armpits. And I remember being back in high school, and my friend Glenn, his father was a barber. And Glenn said that his father shaved his armpits. And here I was, this 210-pound, long-haired, hippie-freak football player. And I thought, men shave their armpits? I realized he was right because it's less likely to have an issue there. Limit your pesticide exposure. Try to do organic whenever possible when it comes to food. And because many of the pesticides have estrogenic effects. Wash your fruits and vegetables thoroughly. You can put them in water, add some baking soda to it, and add some vinegar to it, and it'll start to fizz. Leave it there for about a minute, and that can wash off a lot of those chemicals as well if it's not organic. Even if it is organic, you got to wash it anyway. Rethink your household products. Swap out for non-toxic alternatives. If you have a non-stick pan that you cook in, and it gets a scratch in it, throw it away. Those chemicals are now leaching into your food. Ceramic works well. I can't think of the brand name now. La Creuset. They seem to be pretty good. That's an expensive brand, but it's a non-stick enamel, and that seems to work. Iron. Cast iron frying pans made in the United States. If they're made overseas, they may be toxic, but enamel and cast iron works very well in the United States. Or glass is also very good. Use vinegar. Use baking soda, like I said. You don't use air fresheners. If you have to use an air freshener, make sure it's a pure essential oil. Plastic containers. Try to get glass containers. I know at Costco, somebody bought me, it was like, 20-piece kit or something like that for $11. And I store everything I can in glass. Now, if I'm going to carry a salad or something like that, I may put it in plastic, but I won't eat out of it because I'm going to scratch the plastic. And if I put vinegar in there, vinegar is going to be an acid, and that'll leach the plastic. So use glass. Use stainless steel. Try to stay away from the plastic containers. Keep your body weight down. Support your liver function. I'm going to talk about that in just a second, because the liver metabolizes and eliminates a lot of excess chemicals from your body. So if you're overweight, you have a lot of fat. I used to be fat. I can say the F word. And fat stores these toxic chemicals. That's where your body stores fat. If you're eating animal products, if you're eating meat, butter, cheese, yogurt, eggs, ice cream, animals will store toxic chemicals in their fat. And if you're eating it, you're eating the concentrated chemicals that the animal is exposed to. So if you're going to eat animal products, please do organic. I'll negotiate with you on this. I don't eat animal products. I chose not to 39 years ago. But if you choose to eat them, eat organic only. Animal products especially. I'd rather see you eat non-organic fruits and vegetables and then eat organic animal products if I had to pick one or the other. But the more organic, the better. And washing your fruits and vegetables is key. If it's not organic, don't eat the skin. So if you buy a non-organic watermelon, let's say, wash it down with soap and water like I do, refrigerate it, and when you cut it, don't eat the skin, of course, because the skin would have the pesticides in it. If you're going to eat the skin like an apple, please do organic only, or peel the apple. That's another option. Natural ways to balance out your hormones, things like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cruciferous vegetables. They have in it called diindole methane. Diindole methane helps balance your testosterone and estrogen levels. That's a supplement I take every day. It's Dr. Joe's estrogen regulator. It's diindole methane. But eating more fruits and vegetables is going to be a key because it's fiber, and fiber cleans out your colon. And reducing stress is really important. There's chemical, physical, and emotional stress. Chemical stress is your diet. It's your environment. It's what we've been talking about. If you don't know what to eat, go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in, so what can I eat? And that gives you, it's about a 40-minute talk of me telling you what's good. So that's an option if you don't know what to eat. That can deal with the chemical stress. Physical stress, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, sciatica, numbness, tingling, joint pain. The number one treatment, not the most expensive, in fact, the least expensive, most effective treatment for back pain is chiropractic care. Why wouldn't you take the most effective, least expensive treatment of anything? Getting your air conditioner fixed, getting your car fixed. If it's the most effective and least expensive, that's what I want. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, digestive issues, headaches, come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Normally, the first visit is $940. For you, my listeners, I've reduced that to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. The nutrition evaluation alone is going to cost you more than that anywhere else. So we do this because we want to find out what's going to be the best course of treatment for you. And once we determine that, we'll sit down, we'll say, hey, we think it's chiropractic care, we think it's nutrition, we think it's medical, we think it's pain management, we think it's orthopedist, neurologist. And then you can decide what direction you want to go in. Over 90%, way over 90% of patients say, let's just go ahead and do this. We take almost all insurances. We have to verify your policy. If you're ever in a car accident, folks, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. And I've had countless people over the years, every week come in, that have car accident injuries that didn't get them treated properly. Chiropractic care, unless it's life-threatening, should be your portal of entry for auto accident cases. And you're going to get calls from scammers if you're in an accident. Hey, go see this doctor, go see this lawyer. That's a scam. Don't fall for it. You will not get the care that you need, and you're going to be scammed out of money and time, and more importantly, you're going to get scammed out of your health. No one will ever call you and say, go see this doctor or lawyer if you're in a car accident. So if you want to make an appointment to come see us, you need to do it now. Go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We'll get you in this week. I want to be your doctor. Let's get to the cause of your problems, not just treat the symptoms. It's a very different approach to healthcare, and it's exciting. So drjoe.com is the website. And you can send me questions through the website as well. Any health questions you have, drjoe.com. If you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. And we do 2 podcasts a week, sometimes more. So we have podcasts. Follow me on social media, Dr. Joe Esposito. Just look me up. We post every single day on social media, and on YouTube, we post long versions. The other ones, we post 1-minute versions. So follow me on social media. Podcast, Dr. Joe for the health of it. We do our radio shows, of course. Send me your questions through the website, drjoe.com. Sign up for our newsletter. The newsletter really is the ultimate because you're going to get a list of everything we have going on, and it's free. And if you don't like it, unsubscribe. We'll never give your email address away. So I'm trying to give you every possible route to get this information. You have social media, you have podcasts, you have newsletters, you have the radio shows. Take advantage of this, folks. I've been doing this for about 40 years now, lecturing on health. And patients come to me all the time and say, why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I wait so long to take action steps on my health? Sometimes I teach you things you can just do at home. Send you home, here, go do this. Let's get to the cause, drjoe.com. So anyway, talking about microplastics today. I'm so glad it's finally making mainstream media. And there's about 51 trillion pieces of plastic contaminating the oceans. We said about 11 tons. That's broken down differently. The numbers are skyrocketing. More and more plastic is getting into our world. So avoid the plastics in your world, and that's going to help everybody, but I want you to do it for you. So plastics, they act like a sponge. They pick up pollution, pesticides, bacteria, chemicals, flame retardants, heavy metals, and they're linked to so many different problems. Microplastics are linked to cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, lung disease, inflammatory bowel disease, thyroid function. They're everywhere. They lower men's testosterone. We talked about that earlier, and that can cause symptoms of menopause in women, even if they're non-menopausal. And no one is immune. The average person each drinks and breathes about 211,000 microplastics every year. And that may be an underestimate. And we said you eat about the amount of a credit card every month. So microplastics are even found in the feces of newborn babies. So it's getting into the mother, it's getting into the baby. Chewing gum, pharmaceuticals, perfumes, hairsprays, fabric softeners, canned foods, laundry pods, all of these contain these microplastic, many of them contain microplastic particles, and they're even found in certain cheap supplements. So microplastics, scrubbing beads, toothpastes, shower gels, body scrubs. This is why I use Castile soap. Castile soap it's a liquid soap, and it's safe. It doesn't have microplastics in it. It's not a hormone disruptor. It washes off very easily. Once you start using it, you'll never want to go back. It's so great using Castile soap. And I use a natural toothpaste, no fluoride. Please avoid fluoride at all costs. I'm not a fan of fluoride in any way, shape, or form. Even my dentist told me, listen, Joe, I wouldn't recommend fluoride toothpaste because fluoride can affect the pineal gland, and it can cause all sorts of dangers to it. Fish, choose your fish wisely. Avoid fish that are at the top of the food chain, the biggest ones. Sharks, tuna, mackerel are pretty big. If you're going to eat fish, smaller fish, herring, sardines, halibut, haddock, those are better. Avoid the bottom dwellers. Crabs, mussels, lobsters, flounder, the bottom-dwelling fish, the chemicals and heavy metals settle to the bottom, and they eat them. Now, you don't want to hear about shrimp, but you got to do it, okay? We talked about filtering your water. Please get a water filter, at least a tabletop water filter. I have a whole house water filter if you're just tuning in. You can email me. I'll send you the company I use. I don't want to give them a plug on the air. But you want to stop putting this stuff in your body and flushing it out of your system. Eating more fiber. Fiber acts like a scrub brush in your gut, and it keeps the microbiome, the bacteria in your gut balanced, and that's really important, but it can flush things out. Pears, chia seeds, blueberries, beets, avocados, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, pretty much a plant-based diet. If there was a better way to eat, I would be eating that way. I research biochemistry, nutrition, brain function, neurological issues every day of my life. Even on vacation, even on holidays, I'm researching, I'm reading. If there was a better way to eat long-term, I would be eating that way. If meatball sandwiches were better, I'd be eating them. I miss meatball sandwiches. I'm Italian. But eating more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, you don't have to do it all at once either. Go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in, so what can I eat? And we give you a whole lecture on breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, everything. It's free, by the way. Supplements. I cannot stress enough how important supplements are to overall health, but also to detoxify the body. Today we're talking about hormones and endocrine-disrupting hormones and plastics. So minimum supplements would be super greens, an essential source, vitamin D, and B complex. That's like the starter kit. I would add estrogen regulator for men especially, and for women you can do that as well too, as long as you're not menopausal. Don't take estrogen regulator if you're menopausal. Fiber is going to be a key there too. Make sure you get into fiber to clean the system out. Adaptogenic herbs. If you never heard this term, adaptogenic, ashwagandha, rhodiola, they can help flush out the system. They are used when I created Dr. Joe's Adrenal Support. Now, adrenal support has adaptogenic herbs that have been shown to help reduce inflammation and help the body function more efficiently. So I take Super Green, Essential Source, nitric oxide, B complex, omega-3 fatty acids, estrogen regulator, men's hormone support. I take adrenal support. I take about 10 different supplements a day. If you knew what I knew, you would do what I do. I wish, there's a Moody Blues song, and the line in the song is, I wish I could be in your eyes, looking back to where you were. I wish you could be in my eyes. I wish you could understand what I understand when it comes to health. And I think your life would be so much better. If you understood normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition, you would be head and shoulders ahead of everyone else when it comes to healthcare. So if you want to make an appointment to come see us, I couldn't cover everything I needed to today as usual, go to my website, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues. We can do hormone testing on you. We can do hair analysis for heavy metal toxicity. We can do acoustic wave therapy for joint issues. Instead of getting a joint replacement, let's try acoustic wave therapy first. Cold laser to stimulate the mitochondria in the cells. There's so many alternative treatments that you don't even know exist. So if you have a health issue, go to my website right now, drjoe.com, book an appointment. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that to $299 for you, my listeners. And we take most insurances, car accidents, sports injuries. I want to get to the cause of your health care problem and your children's, not just treat the symptoms. So if that's an approach you're interested in, you can go to my website. Send me questions through the website, drjoe.com. Follow me on social media, Dr. Joe Esposito. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. That was a lot of chemistry today. Some shows are more chemistry than others. You have questions for me, Jonathan? That's your name. Is that your name, Jonathan? Just John. Okay, I didn't know.
Do thyroid problems affect your weight? If
Yes.
so, how do you get rid of the extra weight?
Okay, got to fix thyroid. Okay, and a lot of things you do to gain weight also affect your thyroid, like endocrine disrupting hormones, estrogen-like compounds, not getting enough iodine, heavy metals can clog up the thyroid. Chlorine, fluorine, and bromine can clog up your thyroid. You can't absorb iodine because they're all haloids. If you want to know about thyroid, and I don't want to give you a whole lecture on thyroid, and I will, don't tempt me, go to my website, drjoe.com, and type thyroid in the search bar and listen to that. And then if you want to lose weight, type in weight loss and listen to that show as well. But don't blame your weight all on thyroid. It could be part of it, but a lot of it is lifestyle that we have to correct. So the answer is yeah, let's get in there, fix it. Listen to those shows and then come see me, which you'll probably do anyway. What else?
Are deodorants that contain baking soda okay to use?
Baking soda is fine in deodorant, but if it has baking soda and other chemicals, no. If it has chemicals, parabens, fragrances, perfumes, no. If it's a natural baking soda, sure, but I like my alcohol and tea tree oil. That seems to work pretty well. So,
Why do I get weak and lightheaded when I don't eat?
well, your blood sugar's dropping. Your brain runs on glucose. And if you don't have enough glucose, the brain can't, the fuel isn't there, so the body starts to shut itself down. It shuts down so it conserves energy. So if that's an issue, your body might be needing nutrients. So I would say Super Green's an essential source, absolutely, and see if that helps, but then make sure you're eating a good diet as well. Don't go too long between meals, but like some people can intermittent fast. I can intermittent fast about 14 to 16 hours. Then I get really hungry and weak. Some people can only go 8 or 10 hours. They're probably not candidates for intermittent fasting, but see what works best for you. But try the Super Green's an essential source. See if that helps.
Are toothbrush bristles made from plastic?
They are. And that's a problem, isn't it? So that's why as soon as your toothbrush starts to break down, you want to throw it away and get a new one. Yeah. So I've got an electric toothbrush, and as soon as it starts to get a little soft, boom, I throw it away.
Are supplements found in capsules okay?
Yes. It depends on the supplement, though. Like some of our supplements are in capsules, and they're great. There's cheap, crappy ones that are in capsules, too. So that's why the supplements I take, the supplements I make are the ones I take, I should say, because there's a lot of scammers out there. A lot of scammers everywhere. It just sucks lately. But, yeah, that's why I only have the finest quality, because these are the ones I take. If I take them, they're good enough for you to take. So, what else?
That is all.
You guys are great. Please follow me on all platforms. Do it as a favor to me. Again, it's Dr. Joe Esposito, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And any questions, send them to me through the website, and I will hopefully see you in the office. If not, you'll see me next week for the podcast.